what was really on my heart immediately when I found out about this pandemic, this unfortunate pandemic, was, oh my gosh, entrepreneurship. I don't know how many of you are REMAX people or not, but at REMAX, all of us, every single one of us is entrepreneurs, right? So immediately we lead a company. There's 4,500 people in our company. We have 150 offices all over. Our 500 people are entrepreneurs. And the first thing I could think of, oh my gosh, this ship is sinking. We're all entrepreneurs. What are we going to do? And it just kind of, in our first events and things that we had, it just kind of came out naturally, organically. Let's not let this crisis, steal our entrepreneurial dream. And I know Hannah shared that with you already. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this today because I really think it's a very timely thing to talk about. And I will put some REMAX concepts in there just because I think really REMAX, REMAX has been an amazing company since the 1970s regarding entrepreneurship. And even people that haven't stuck with REMAX have gone on to be entrepreneurs in other fields, because that's how entrepreneurial the concept is. So anyway, so here is us, right? 2004, Sebastian worked at REMAX Allegiance, Mark. And we, Sebastian was really a rookie agent. He'd only been with REMAX 3 months, and he walked up to his broker, who at that time was Bob Blunt, and he said, hey, I want to take REMAX to Argentina. And he said, and Bob said to him, yeah, right, Sebastian. We were really crazies, okay? I'm 7 years older than my husband. I am very open about things like that. I love to share. I like to be vulnerable and be real, right? And so my husband was 27, I was 34, and we went out to San Diego to find out who the person that could, who it was that really led the international efforts of REMAX, and if we could be a part of them. We chased this person down at that convention until we found him. And then he basically said to us, do you want to work for REMAX in Argentina, or do you want to buy the region? And my husband and I, without having even the money in our hands, said, no, money's not an issue. We want to buy the region. Whatever. And the rest is history. So very, very, very entrepreneurial. I want to say a few other things, though, about this picture, just about myself. I think I lived a pretty good life. I traveled 37 countries by the time I was 17. I really felt a heavy burden of what the family wanted me to be and do. And I'm an only child, so that burden was even more. I lost my father when I was 14, and so my mom became my dad and my mom, and in a sense, I was well provided for. I had an inheritance, and it made it tough, though, because I felt like there was conditions around that, and I really, really wanted to live my own life. So when I was 28, my life found me in a house in Virginia Beach on Freemason Avenue, that beautiful street that's pebbled. It's got beautiful houses on it. You know how nice it is, Mark. It found me in a 3-story unit with a BMW, and my mom wanted me to marry a politician, okay? And I remember one Thanksgiving day, I don't know why we always choose family moments to have tiffs, but I sat down with my mom and my grandparents and I said, I'm actually moving out of this 3-story house on Freemason. I'm giving you back my inheritance, and I'm moving into my little apartment. I don't know, maybe you guys in Costa Rica ended up doing crazy things like this too, some of you that are expats. But that's my story. There was really something in me that said, and this picture really describes it, Dotti, you can't live the life that you've been given. You've got to make life for yourself. There's something inside. You've got to figure out who you are. So for me, my dream of entrepreneurship isn't a rags to riches story at that point. It's basically about being willing to go off on my own to become who I am. So it takes guts to be who you are. It takes guts to be, to have the the courage to be who you are and to find who you are in life. I think that we went against the status quo, and I like REMAX because it does the same. So everything starts with a dream. All of us have dreams, you know. And what does it really mean to be an entrepreneur, right? So my first entrepreneurial moment was leaving home, in a sense, leaving the life that was designated for me and going off on my own. My second one was marrying a crazy, and my third one was, hey, we're going to start a business, okay? And really, really, when it comes down to being an entrepreneur, is the activity of setting up a business, taking on financial risk in the hope of profit. This is really what I like, this definition. And you know, it's kind of crazy. Now, if you would have asked me, would I ever do something like that? Would I ever go to Argentina, set up a business? No way. This is my dad. This is La Librería Peñate in the Canary Islands, Spain. I don't know what year that photo was taken, but the bottom part was it was basically a bookstore, a print shop, a gift shop, and a card shop, all in one, and above were tourist apartments. So in some way, my dad was involved in real estate. I really didn't put that together until recent years. But if you would have asked me when I was little, all I thought, you know how when we're little, we look at our parents and they're like our idols? Well, maybe not all of us can say that, but these house where they lived, it was huge to you. Then you go back after a few years and you're like, oh, well, maybe it wasn't that huge. Or, you know, or someday you realize, oh, your parents or your grandparents or your aunt or uncle or that person that raised you, they're not as perfect as you thought. They're human just like us, right? But when I was little, I thought, how can I ever be as good as what my parents are? I never, ever thought I had it inside of me. But both of my mother and father had their own businesses. And I think it's really interesting when I look back on it now. But basically, you know, it requires stepping out of your comfort zone to be an entrepreneur, right? And what I've learned in my life is every single time I did it, whether it was when I chose to go out on my own, whether it was I chose to marry somebody people didn't expect me to marry, or whether it was starting a business with my husband and moving all the way to Argentina from Norfolk, Virginia, magic happens. When you take action and you do the unexpected, magic really, really does happen. Now, this is a phrase that I love. I love this. You know, the best day of your life is the one on which you decide your life is your own. No apologies or excuses, no one to lean on, rely on, or blame. The gift is yours. It's an amazing journey, and you alone are responsible for the quality of it. And this is the day your life begins. And I really, really feel that way. And never in a million years would I imagine a lot of the things that I've lived or been through or experienced were because of those decisions. So why would you step out of your comfort zone, especially to go to Argentina to start a business, right? Well, maybe I didn't get this when we started, because many times what you guys do, and then we look back and realize, what if we wouldn't have moved to Argentina? And I think, wow, if we wouldn't have moved, I'm sure somebody else would have eventually taken REMAX or done something similar in Argentina. But I know that the 4,500 people that are in our company today, they wouldn't be having their own business today. And in such a unique business model, which allows them the liberty to achieve their dreams and makes them less dependent. And I love entrepreneurship for that. You know, in all of Latin America, government, probably not in Costa Rica as much, but in other parts of Latin America, I've always heard that, you know, Costa Rica is the Switzerland of Latin America. Well, supposedly Buenos Aires is the Paris of Latin America, but certainly regarding, you know, certain things, it is complex, it is chaotic, it is very folkloric. It's wonderful, but it's a roller coaster ride. You know, our inflation is 350% right now. The devaluation of the dollar. I mean, we don't have mortgages. it is complex to be an agent in Argentina and Uruguay. The rules change every day. And as you guys know, in Latin America, the rules are made to be broken, right? So it's very, very interesting. But I love that today, the reason we did that became that people have their own business and they have the liberty to achieve their dreams. And you know what? When we went off to Argentina, I never thought about all those people. I didn't know that was going to happen. I was really just thinking about us doing something in Argentina with this new concept. But as it became real, it's been amazing. I think also what's really unique about being an entrepreneur is, so let me just continue here. So a couple of things about Argentina and Uruguay. We're the largest network of entrepreneurs in our country. Beyond REMAX, beyond real estate, we're the largest network of entrepreneurs. We are not employees. We don't get a salary at the end of the month. The only people in our company that get salaries are the 27 people that are at headquarters of REMAX Argentina, Uruguay, or the administrative staff of a REMAX office. Everybody else is responsible for their own business. It depends on them, and they have their own initiative in carrying out that business. For us, it's about transforming people into women and men of business. And that's really a priority and particularly a competitive advantage in a changing market. REMAX is so much more than about real estate. It's really an entrepreneurial dream and making many of the things that I've just been saying happen. But mostly we are a company that helps build other businesses, whether it's an agent's business or an office, a REMAX office business. It's wonderful and I love how you guys are doing this sort of peer-to-peer learning or sharing, sort of like a business mixer, mastermind session, because I think that's what we need. People, it's great that REMAX Costa Rica hosts these because many people pay to belong to sessions like this, that are cross company wise, different companies, different fields, they get together and they network and try to solve problems. That's really popular today. So this is the main, and I'll stop here about REMAX, but this is the main concept of REMAX. You're in business for yourself, but you're not by yourself. You're for yourself because it depends on you, how you get up in the morning, what you decide to do with your day, conquer each day, have goals, how many clients you're going to serve this year, how many deals you want to do, how much money you want to make, and basically organize yourself with that. But then you're not by yourself because you're in a network, you're in a global network. And it's just like what happened just on this call. My husband worked at the REMAX office in Virginia, and that is the coolest thing about belonging to a network like this. So this is basically REMAX. So, being an entrepreneur, what are and I will mention REMAX again, but I want to from here on out say that everything I mentioned, I think it's totally applicable to different fields. So hopefully it will add value because that's really my desire today. What are our main, what are our current challenges? And I know, everybody's going to say, oh, well, it's Corona, or it's, I heard you guys on the call saying, about getting masks, and obviously that's an important thing today. But I still believe after 15 years of being an entrepreneur and being in business that the biggest challenge isn't ever whether it's the market went down, whether it's we've got a global issue, health issue, whether we've got inflation or devaluation issues or social issues, whatever they be, and all of those exist today in our world, crazy world we live in. I feel that I always put the focus on what I can do. I can't really control much of what happens out there. I just really can't. And so I've sort of chosen in my life, I turn the TV off a little bit more. I'm informed, but I don't get consumed by it. I'm really not stuck right now in how many people got the virus, didn't get the virus. I can't. I don't want to spend too much time in my day. I want to know. I want to be informed. I want to follow the rules. I want to know about everything else. But I don't want to be consumed by whether it's the left, whether it's the right. I just don't want to be consumed by things that don't add value to my life or don't help me grow. And so I always say the main challenge is me, my fears, my insecurities, my commitment, my wanting to avoid pain. You know, I, I have, I'm, I sort of, I think pain is good in a good way, not like inflicting pain to yourself, but I'm just saying, you know, when change has to come, it hurts. Or when you make decisions, it hurts. And I don't always think pain is bad. I think good things come out of pain. Think about it. When you most grew in your life, is it when you went through something that was easy or something that was hard? Probably something that was hard, because challenges keep us alive and they keep us innovative. And that's exactly the opportunity that we have because of this unfortunate pandemic right now. That really is an innovative moment. I was watching a video the other day, and many businesses were born in the times of crisis. Walt Disney, and different other groups, which I can't remember right now. There's a video out there right now that talks about this, and it's amazing. Actually, if we have time at the end, I can share it, but it's in Spanish. So anyway, the main challenge is me, and I take ownership of my life and where I put my focus and my time. And the other one is, you know, and at REMAX, this applies for REMAX, but it applies for everybody, this rule, you know, it's kind of sort of one of the main principles of marketing. You know, a lot of people want to be number one, and you may belong to a number one brand in the world. But each of us has the responsibility. It's more important to be number one is to be original, to be unique. Because when you're unique and you're the only one out there that does, who is what you are and who does what you do, you're the only one. And each one of us right now, just because of who we are on this call, we are unique. We are the only one like us in the entire world. So if you add to that something you're doing out there, and it's a service you're providing or it's a product you're promoting, you know, you're unique. Try to be unique. Unique is always better than being number one. And I tell you from experience, 15 years later, we're the number one brand in the market in almost everything, in agents, in growth, in commissions, in the amount of cities we're in. But I don't really care anymore. That's not my focus. I really want us to be the best. And I want each of our agents to be unique to their clients, and that they achieve their client base, because that's the world we're living in. So what do you do, you know, and to the people out there that are at REMAX, whether they're in Virginia or whether they're in Costa Rica, but if you're not in real estate, you know, think of the area, the type of business or the type of field that you're in. You know, maybe you're just a beach bum, and I'm envious. But, you know, I think we all need to be the change that our markets need in whatever field we're in. You know, we need to think of something that's needed, and we need to go out there and do it. And if there's other people doing a bunch of stuff, that's just, I mean, you can do that as well, but I love the challenge of being the change that the markets we live in need. I feel that also people choose us, they refer us, and all of us that are in business, we want to have clients for life. We want to have people coming back. You know, there's a lot of options out there, and the digital world provides a lot of options. But I truly believe that the world is still about people. And so, you know, what are the principal qualities, habits, or abilities that you have to be an entrepreneur today? So, you know, here's a few of them. Creativity, leadership, perseverance, confidence, use of technological tools, organizational skills, a tolerance to frustration, assuming risk, like I mentioned before. You know, all of these are good, and these are pretty much of a standard definition of what are some of the abilities we need to have if we want to be an entrepreneur. Now, the ones I like, and this applies to REMAX or not, are the following. And I really feel these are the ones we've got to have today, especially competing in a digital world, which I don't think we compete, because I don't think we actually, I think if we capitalize on what the digital world can't do, we're going to be completely fine. And fortunately, we've discovered at this time that there's a lot of what the digital world can't do. Service is going down. It's going down the tubes. Efficiency and organization and visibility is big in the internet age, and communication too, because hey, it's great that we're communicating today like this, right? But let's not confuse ourselves. if this would have been a moment for agents to disappear in the real estate world, for example, it would have been now. And that has not happened. It simply hasn't, and it won't. And there's reasons for that. So I think these are the abilities I want to share with you regarding what I think an entrepreneur needs to have. Now, before I say that, I do think that anything we choose to do in life, it's about being hungry, humble, and being intelligent, but not intelligent with a college degree. I think it's about being intelligent with people, interpersonal relationships. We have to be brilliant at this in the modern world. Being hungry, being humble, and being intelligent with people. It almost seems as if humility doesn't go along with real estate. Sometimes you see some of our promotion and some of our communication, and we seem kind of like we're self, promoters. But really, when it comes down to it, if you are a trusted advisor, you are a humble person. You are hungry, and you're good with people, right? And I'm sure it's that way in some of your fields. So first thing, you might think it's silly, right? I think you have to love people. If you want to compete, you got to love people. You've got to love people in a way that you're going to get up and have enough energy to stay in touch with your clients. You have to love people. And all of these hearts represent some of the things that I think that we as small businesses or entrepreneurs do for our clients, and that some of the things that grow, but each one of them takes special care and concern. So sorry, some of the translation here is kind of bad because I had it in Spanish and I had some help, but the one that's in the hand, much more than moving, like in our business, it's got to be about much more than moving. There's got to be a whole bunch of things around the experience that people have with us that makes them want to come back to us. Investing in our clients, being generous, having client parties, pop-bys, just even calling people. I wonder how many of us have done a Zoom call with our clients. It's really important to connect right now, and maybe even just have an after office with our clients, or talk about what's going on in the market on Zoom. If you haven't done that yet, it's a good time to do it. When you do stuff like that, it builds trust and it creates community with your clients. And I think creating community is what the digital world can't do. The truth is, for example, in our real estate world, the portals, Zillow said they would never sell properties, and yet they are, right? But they can't really create community with their clients in the way that we can do. And this applies all across the board to any field. And I apologize, I don't know exactly what fields all of you are in. So I'm mentioning real estate as an example more, but it could apply to any of them. So, really just relationships are more important than transactions today. We live in the era of the consumer experience, and it has to be about relationships more than transaction. Every single business that's transactional and doesn't offer something more that's relational and that's consumer oriented is in trouble today, is in big trouble today. People, you need to make people feel something about your brand, about what you're doing. You need to stay in touch with them. You need to love them enough to stay in touch with them. You need to show them that you care genuinely. That builds trust. I've always heard this expression: it doesn't matter how much you know, people want to know how much you care. And I think it's about providing extraordinary experiences and with a genuine desire to serve others. And that, to me, really, that's the seed you sow to people. Just they choose you. There's no reason they should choose you, but they just choose you anyway. They choose, it's beyond reason, because it's obvious they would never go to anybody else. So you have to love people enough to create community with them. And again, they're not your family, they're not your kids, right? But they are your real estate community, or your cafe community, or your surfing community, or your, whatever business you're in, that's what they are. I think the second thing that's really important in our market today is, in our world today, is you just got to be an expert at something. You've got to be good. So for example, in our real estate business right now, we have to be really good. We have to understand that we have to incorporate the technological world into our business. We've got to be good at this. Not in everything. We've got to know how to decide what is important to know and what not. But for example, our pictures, for all of us, for all of our businesses, how do we look online, right? How do we look online? Are our pictures good? Is our content good? How, is everything they need to know about the properties or your cafe or whatever you work at, is it good? That's really, really important right now. Videos, virtual videos. I would use it in any business today. I would invite people into my business with virtual business. I'd invite them into the homes I'm selling with virtual. And yeah, do you have to invest in this? Yeah, you've got to love people enough to invest in your business. You've got to love what you do enough to invest. And in the Latin world, a lot of times it's first I'll do something, I'll get money, then I'll invest. No. It's the opposite. First I invest, I'll get money, then I keep investing. And obviously I get profitability as I go, because that's the whole point of it all, right? The other thing is, I really believe today is about simplifying processes. Make it simple for people to use your service. Think about what it is that's complex for people in what you do, and give it to them in advance in a simple way. Give them tips, help them out, information. So loving people and giving them information, oh my goodness, you're on your way to take people away from Zillow or online transactional business, for relational business, which includes, in my opinion, relational and transactional, right? I think you really have to be ahead of the game. You have to know your stuff. You really have to know your stuff, okay? And I think there's another thing here is be committed to grow. Always be growing. Always be stepping out of your comfort zone and see what you can learn about your business. Each transaction you make, what did you learn? What can you do differently? How can you improve it? How can you make it better? Don't go back to the same lesson again. Say, check, I conquered it. I'm going on to the next level. Incorporate that. And then the other thing, I think we need to be the local experts. We live in a global world, but especially this pandemic reinforces local business, right? And I think people have a genuine desire to serve and support local business, but we need to be experts where we live. We need to know our clients. We need to know who we've done business with, what kind of business we've done. In real estate, we need to know how old are they, what properties or where have they bought. And we need to know even the businesses in the areas where people go to live after they buy with us. We need to support and do business mixers like this or mastermind sessions so that we all help each other and they get to know their neighborhood in the best way possible. I think all businesses should work together as a network in their local neighborhoods today. I think that's all I wanted to say about that. Know your data. Know your data. You need to control your numbers and your data more than ever today in your businesses. And the third one for me, this is just like it's like we say in Spanish, la frutilla del postre, right? The cherry on the cake or the cherry on the cupcake. I don't know what it would be. But anyway, you love your clients. You become an expert at what you do. And by the way, you're not an expert the first day. Excellence is about doing the best you can do as you improve day by day. You're not excellent at what you do the first day. You become excellent in time. And I don't know if you even ever become excellent, but it's each day doing your best, conquering each day. I think entrepreneurs do that. And the third thing is really what I think is really, this sums it all up in extraordinary service, beyond reason, right? When you fulfill promises. This is this is like my grandparents' material, right? This is like another era. This is like retro. But honestly, fulfilling promises is huge. You made a promise, just make sure you fulfill that promise. Somebody, if it's out there, and if not, recoordinate or let somebody know what's happening about what you're not being able to do. Try not to make promises you can't fulfill, really. I just think it really cheapens who we are. To me, also something really important is just showing up. Just show up. David Knox is one of the best real estate trainers in the world. And he always says, you know what, when I didn't know something, I always made sure I showed up. And showing up sometimes gives you business, even when you don't know everything. So show up, always show up. And, show up, keep your word, keep your word with people. The other day, somebody said, oh my gosh, the plumber came to my house. He was extraordinary. And so I asked the person, what do you mean he was extraordinary? Why was the plumber extraordinary? Oh my gosh, because he came at 4:00 and that's when we scheduled the appointment. I said, that's not extraordinary. That's what any plumber should do. If they said they were going to come at 4:00, they should be there at 4:00. Yeah, but unfortunately, culturally, we've gotten so bad that we don't expect the plumber or anybody to come at 4:00, come on time. So actually showing up on time is huge in business. It's huge. It's a fulfilling a promise. It's a huge, huge asset because so few people do it. And in Latin America, more, let's be honest. Okay. So showing up and fulfilling promises, keeping your word, following I think, fulfilling promises with yourself. You have dreams, you have goals, and you want to reach them, right? You want to make money, you want to achieve your dreams, and you've put stuff in your schedule that's going to take you to your dreams, your bigger dreams, right? You've got goals that are going to take you to your bigger dreams. But if you wake up in the morning and you're not feeling well that day, or you're just emotional about it, like I think we are very emotional many times, in Latin America. If you're not committed to your schedule, you got to be committed to your schedule even when you don't feel like it. You've got to be committed to yourself, to what you said you were going to do. I think the people we disappoint the most are ourselves. Again, it all goes back to us. We are so responsible for our journey. And then be committed to your clients and get the job done. Getting the job done, being results oriented is huge. And I really, really believe that if we understand, our clients, especially in our field, they're not properties, they're people. The clients that we have are people. We have to get something done with their property, but the property is sold and that's a done deal. What sticks with us for life is the client, and we need their business. We need their repeat and referral business. So I think this really sums up why, the 3 points I mentioned before are so important to really, become who we need to be. I feel like we're at a company where we started the future a long time ago, and we are the real estate network of the future. And you might think that's crazy. What about the portals? What about forgive me, but I think the strategy of being relationship oriented in this virtual world is really cool. It is like rebellious. It is the best. And in a modern, robotic, automated world, dehumanized world, we are the rebels of the market because we believe in personalized service, and we started the future a long time ago. And again, this applies to any business on the call. So, being productive, being sustainable, being willing to, participate within a network. And if you're not in real estate and you're not at REMAX, any network you can, if you want to be a part of these mastermind sessions or other groups, I really think having support during this time is huge. It really is huge. Don't go through this alone. Find other people that you can learn from in a safe environment, right? That you can learn from, that you can grow. Don't stay out there alone on your own. It is a time to pull together. Still be the owner of your business, but be able to share with others. And I think the virtual world gives us a tremendous opportunity to do that. We would have never been able to have this call today unless I traveled over there to see you, because we would have never thought we could use this tool, even though we had it 3 years ago. I've been using Zoom for 3 years, but we never needed it. So we didn't know it exists. We didn't use it. And it's great that we are using it today. These are some of our agents, doing their entrepreneurial dream. And anyway, these are some of the things we are doing at our company today. We want to be much more than entrepreneurs. We really want to make a difference in Argentina and Uruguay, and hopefully we can also make a small difference anywhere we go around the world, spreading our little message here.
Yeah, Dotti, thank you so much. I feel like exactly what a lot of us needed, and I think that we can fill the culture that you guys have, it's very personal. It's definitely not all about the money and all about the production of what people are doing, or the value that they're adding is really a personal value. So there's one quote that you said, and I'd love for you to unpack it. You said, love people enough to invest in your business. I guess my question is, how do you see people in your network, or how would you suggest the people on these calls invest in their business, knowing what the current market is?
So I wish I had that video. I'll send it to you, Hannah, so you have it. But a lot of big companies were born in moments like this. Huge companies. I wish I could remember which ones they were in the video. So I think, entrepreneurs see opportunity when nobody else is looking. And so I think it's really, it's even bigger than that question, Hannah, really. It's, I just feel like, even in our company, we have people that are investing in their businesses, and we have people that are just kind of riding along with whatever we provide in our, ecosystem. We don't have it all down pat either. Okay. But if I had to give a recommendation, even if we talk about investment as time, I would be focusing on what your next thing is going to be. I'd be focusing on how you're reinventing. I didn't really share a very innovative presentation, did I? At all. Love your clients, right? Be good at what you do, right? Keep promises. The only thing I said is, if you can do all those things and you think it's worth it, invest a little bit to love your clients. And if you ask me, I'd put my money in keeping my business alive with low costs, costo fijo bajos, right? Fixed cost low. But I'd put my money back into my clients. I think one of the things that digital companies did really well, like, I can't think of the one that's in Zappos, they stopped doing publicity and they put that money into client appreciation. I think it's huge for agents. I know some of us need promotion, but honestly, remember, we're not trying to only get publicity, we're trying to get repeat and referral business. So why wouldn't you invest in people that already bought with you? Why wouldn't you provide an experience for them? Why wouldn't you have fun with your clients? Creating community. What do you like to do? I mean, don't do things you don't like to do. Be yourself, what a great place, Costa Rica. I don't know, have a beach after office, and it can be cheap, it can be expensive. It doesn't have to be much money. It's the thought that counts. People that have money, big mistake people make. You think you have to give a big gift. You know what? No, they have everything life can offer. Sometimes it's about just the thought. I thought about you and I did something cool and I did something unique. So I really think investing, it starts, and I'm sorry, but to me, it does start with a heart. It's like, what do you think about? You hate your clients or you love your clients? You can also choose your clients, right? If they're bad the first day, they're going to be bad forever. Let's face it. Why do we have them? So we might need to get rid of some of our clients in this phase too. We might also, as a business, need to go with the clients we can go with, because some of them are just paralyzed, or they can't buy right now, whatever. And we need to know what are the real opportunities and who wants to go with us, and who wants to be in our community. So I don't know if this makes any sense, but, and then I have to say, I am a crazy. My husband's the more numerical, right? We fight about what we should spend, what we shouldn't spend. I always spent more in the beginning. I don't regret it at all though. But today I've become much more bottom line. I learned how to manage the money side. I think it's really important. I think profitability is really important. I mean, I said entrepreneurship is about making a profit, right? But you have to risk first. So all of us have to risk first. It's a natural step. The thing is, if you're risking forever in something, you might need to consider what you're doing wrong. And obviously in this moment, Hannah, we're all facing the same thing. It is not easy. It is not easy to keep our commitments. But if your vision of what you're doing is important enough to you, then no, it's going to be worth it. I can't promise you it's going to be easy right now, but it'll totally be worth it on the end of the day. And I'm just coming from somebody, it's coming from somebody that's been in a market where there's no mortgages, the devaluations every day. I mean, we have a culture of, our culture in Argentina is actually so focused on the employee. I mean, there are not successful entrepreneurs in Argentina. They don't last very long. They don't last more than a year, most of them. Only 5% of entrepreneurs in Argentina make it to the first 5 years. So we really had to struggle with the mindset. Americans, any of you that are American on the call, it's inbred in you guys. Nothing is impossible. Okay, maybe it's wearing off with time. I think my mom's era was much more nothing's impossible. Maybe now it's kind of like, well, okay, but still, the US has a very entrepreneurial mindset. I love it. I love that. I love that. And I love what I can bring to the table as a half American, you know, in that, you know what? I don't want to hear what we can't do in Argentina. I want to hear what we can do. So if this is important enough to you, you know, lower your costs, but don't lower your investment in your business and keeping it alive as you go. You've got to hold on if you want. This is going to end. This is going to end. And I don't know, I hope some of the stuff or the things that I'm seeing or the trends I'm seeing helps you make some decisions in your business today.
Yeah, absolutely, Dotti. And I think you bring up a good point that, you know, maybe the investment that we need to be spending right now has a lot more to do with our heart investment or being thoughtful, like you mentioned. You wouldn't normally think about that in business, but in a time like this, when people are struggling more personally, you know, they're isolated, they have questions, you know, our sellers have property here and they're stuck in another country away from it, or you know, people are stuck in their homes and looking for an escape. So we have this incredible opportunity to meet them on a personal, relational level where maybe before they didn't have time for us, you know. So
Totally. Great point, Hannah. Great point. So, you know, that's going to depend on your ability to get there, right? But let me give you an example. So not only are talking about this in our company, but we grew a lot. We have 20% market share. So we've grown, like we've zoomed to the top. Okay. But during this time, we also said, let's take entrepreneurship to the markets. There's not many successful entrepreneurs in Argentina. So we went like this, out like a cross, right? Up, and we went out to the community with this message. And I think it is a unique time where you can reach people that you normally couldn't, for sure. It's also a unique time to be the trusted advisor in certain items and provide information. And I want to go back to this digital age thing. You know, I'll tell you a story. I don't know how many of you know Brian Buffini. He's a life coach, but he's specifically has started being a real estate business coach. And he told a story once that he went into Apple to Mac one Christmas. He had a list of 20 things he was going to buy. He's got a big family. He was going to buy each one of his kids, I think, an iPad. And then some of his top tier clients, he was also going to buy something technological. And he had like 20 things on the list. So it was quite a big item. Well, something happened with his appointment. He waited there for like 2 hours. And finally, after asking several people and not getting helped, he went up to the person and said, look, I just want to let you know, I'm going to go home now. And I'm going to go buy this stuff online at home. But I don't want you to worry because Apple's going to be fine. But the one that's going to be out of business is you. And I think it's a very powerful illustration of what I was trying to say in the presentation. People need to know you care about them. People need to know you can fulfill promises. People need to know you're next. You need to show up. You need to be there. And you need to be that difference of what it is to do business online. And that's really what it, you know, people matter. Our clients are people. They're not properties. And we also, at the same time, need to incorporate the technology we need in each one of our businesses to be visible, because you can be much more visible online today than you were before. If you just were like the local flower shop, you know, and you had no visibility, now you can be a world flower shop, you know, if you want. So I think we have to know which are the tools for our business that we need to use, but they don't replace you. It's technology at the service of people, not people at the service of technology.
Yeah, absolutely. And Joseph actually had a good comment. It says it's true. It takes money to make money. So now is the time to be spending, especially on marketing. There's too many people cut the costs like marketing through tough times when we actually need to do the opposite. And it's so true. You need to be visible. So it has to be the two of those. You have to be visible, but if you're not caring for and really like connecting with your clients, then you spent all of this money to gain them only to watch them walk out the door, which is exactly the story you just told.
Yep, exactly.
Dotti, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us. I know you have a huge network to kind of care for. You're like mama bear for Argentina and Uruguay, but we definitely appreciate you taking the time to invest in who we are, and we're going to follow your advice and love people enough to invest in our own business. And I think that we can walk away with a few practical takeaways. So thank you very much.
I want